Hey, look, it's a layout update video of sorts, and that's a palm tree. And that's a bigger palm tree. Yeah, it's a real one. Here's the layout-ish, if the camera will focus. Garage door's open because it's nice out. So for this video, I'm going to just kind of just show what's going on. I got the bench work done. For the most part, I still got to cut a filler piece for there, but that's for another day. It is a little overview of everything. It is 13 feet long by 7 feet 8 inches. It's two peninsulas, which are 2 feet 4 inches, give or take an inch wide. Of course, it is N scale, and as you can see, I've already got a bunch of the cork down. It's sitting on 4 by 1x4s. That one's not quite right. It's built completely out of 1x4s, and it's got 7/16 inch OSB plywood on top of it. I just used the plywood just because it was quicker and easier than the pink foam. It's also more sturdy. The layout is strong enough. I have sat on it. I don't recommend doing it because it does flex a bit. I did have a problem for a while where if you came down here, you could make this whole end wobble about 3-4 inches side to side. But last night I put this board here up, which if I can move the camera far enough back, I put this board up to act as a bracer. So for this video, I kind of want to give an overview of the railroad as well, and the best way to do that is actually to follow a train on the railroad, but there's clearly no track. What there's going to be that hasn't been built yet is right along here and kind of down the middle of this will be about a 1 foot, 1.5 foot high view block. So if you're sitting here at this Wabash car, you won't be able to see this Grand Trunk car or this DT&I locomotive working that yard. So start the southernmost end of the railroad, which is right here, which actually is through that corner. Staging is going to be underneath the poster there by the wires where the electrical cabinet panel is at. So the train will come out through staging, or out of staging. It'll come through here, and this is the first yard you'll come to. You can see I've got it penned out, and I actually traced number 5 turnouts and number 6 turnouts for everything, so the cork and everything actually follows it. So now the cork only went as far as here for now. I've only got a few pieces left. You'll follow the main line through here. And this corner, it looks sharp, but when I actually put down some track, it isn't too bad. It is a 12.5 inch radius curve through there, so I measured it out. It looks weird. You come up to here, and this I actually cut out. You can see I've got it marked where I'm going to cut it. I'm going to put a piece of masonite that will curve kind of like this, like an arch almost, for a road to go under there, not a river, but a road under this little kit-built bridge. Continuing along, you hit the first major industry. Well, there actually will be industries down in that corner over there, but you'll hit one industry here, and this is only number 5 switch on the main. Everything else is number 6s, because this industry will hardly ever get switched. Not going to worry too much about that switch being a number 6. You get the first and really only passing siding on the line as you come through here, and this is actually the view you get when you first walk in the door from the rest of the house. You come up here. That switch. None of the track is actually permanent. I'm gonna paint after I get all the road bed down. I'm gonna paint everything dirt brown. So you got an industry here. This little cabinet, because I'm going to be eventually doing signals, so I've already got the isolated rail joiners planned out where they're going to be at. And come along here, there'll be another number 6 here, which will diverge over to the auto plant over there. The auto plant yard is here. This yard actually won't even have a dedicated yard crew. It's just a supplemental industry yard, so you can store cars there while you're pulling cars out of the auto plant. This is the auto plant where box cars and other cars, or steel coil cars and stuff will get unloaded here. Auto racks will be here to be loaded up, to be sent out. Continuing north, there'll be a chemical plant, like a soap factory there. come through. I only got the cork up to here because I haven't actually finished drawing out the plan for over there, but I know what it's going to be. You'll come through. This is actually the town of Holly, and this line here, which is kind of hard to see in the sun, is actually the Flint, or the Holly subdivision, CN Holly subdivision. This is the CNO, CSX, Pere Marquette, whatever you want to call it, Saginaw sub. You'll come through here. There'll be a little industry right here, which is Delta Tube down in Holly. You're around the corner here, and this will be Grand Blanc. AC Delco will be right in here. You'll come through here. The old coaling tower will be about here. I will actually have a coaling tower. And then you'll go through Flint Yard, which will be all under all this stuff. I'm just kind of using this side of the layout right now as a storage area since I haven't gotten more lumber to build. I'm going to be building a shelf like that underneath over here to store some stuff. And then you'll round the bend and go back through staging along the back, where you'll come back out where you started. As I said, there'll be about a 1.5 foot high wall that'll go along right along here to about here, and there'll be some other scenery over top of it. But this is what I've been working on the past couple of days now. I started back on the 2nd, and today's the 7th? I think it's the 7th. Yeah, it's the 6th. It's close enough. That right there, I have to share the garage with everyone else, so we got a bunch of junk over there, and I'm going to be organizing that later. That's kind of my scenery and tool bench, and I got my scanner there and notebooks and stuff. But what I actually started out doing before I started any of the bench work is I actually used masking tape on the floor to get a rough idea of what the layout would look like. You can see that's how the yard will be laid out and where the edge of the bench work will be. But I've actually last night I traced out everything with Sharpie and templates and measured everything. So, and then this morning and the past couple days I've actually been putting down the cork. Operation wise, it'll be kind of weird because this industry here and this industry here will be served by a local that comes out of Flint Yard. The local will actually have to go all the way down to Plymouth Yard to do the runaround move. However, the auto plant here will be served by a train that comes out of this yard. This plant, this chemical plant here, and the industry in Holly will all be part of D737, which is the Holly local, which would be the train that comes all the way down to here. I forget what train it is that comes out of Plymouth and works Wixom. I know the number, I just can't think of it off the top of my head. That'll work this train. Then the industry over here, which will actually be industries down the Detroit subdivision, which are actually supposed to be Ford Heater, which are on the which should be on the other side of Plymouth. I put over here just because I can and I wanted to fit it in. Will actually be served by the Plymouth switch, or the Plymouth Yard job. Now I have the garage door open right now just because I wanted some fresh air and I wanted some natural light coming in from outside. But with the garage door closed, there's about a foot gap between the layout and the door, so all the industries here for the Plymouth local to be working will be kind of right in here, and everything else will be down there, so that way, if the weather's bad or if it's too hot out or whatever, I don't have to have the door open to be doing switching there. To actually operate the railroad, it'll be one person can operate it, but it is designed to allow at least 4 people to operate. That's why my aisleway here is is actually almost 3 feet. I think it's 37, 38 inches wide at its widest. And I can't figure out how to get my tape measure to work with my hands. General scenery will look like this little module I built a while ago here with the trees and foliage, although I have a rough idea of how Plymouth will be in the winter, late winter, Holly will be in the summer, and this corner will be fall or something. I haven't fully flushed that out. One thing I want to talk about though is the gapping here is only about 1 inch from here to here, which if there's a derailment, there's a high likelihood that something might go, might go out. What I'm going to do is there's actually going to be a piece of masonite around the edge, which will be slightly higher than the edge of the benchwork, to kind of act as a buffer to help keep things from falling. And on top of that, there's also going to be a little shelf all around that extends out for tools and stuff that will act as a secondary catch. Just going to come out about 1.5 inches out of here. Another thing I want to go on about, you probably, I don't know if the camera picked it up, but the numbers here next to the switches, some of them, like this number tells me that it's a number 6 switch. This number tells me what its DCC address will be, which also is the milepost at which the switch is located. So this one is milepost 73, is the closest milepost to the switch, so its DCC address will be 73. This one is 72. This one is 74. This one is 75. So from this switch to that switch over there is a mile, but then you got 81 here. So from here to here is 6 miles. So it's compressive, modeling, but that's how I'm going to do it. And if the switch doesn't have a number under it, if it just has the size number either here or above it, then it's going to be a manual ground throw for the time being until I get the motors installed and the decoders. I might actually put ground throws on the switches as a temporary thing, but those switches will eventually have DCC, and as for the DCC control, I'm going to be using what I've always used, NCE. This video's getting long, which means it's going to take 1.5 months to upload. Yeah, but that's pretty much been it. I mean, I've been planning this layout out for a while now, and I finally got a job and got money and went crazy. I didn't think I was going to get this far this quick, but I did because I know what I'm doing. And I had it well planned out. And of course, the most important thing that this layout has, that all layouts should have, mini fridge. So, and I was waiting for some glue to dry the other day. I did start to put together the electrical panel. And this will be the main power panel for all the layouts. So I got my barrier strip here. I got the first power shield. I do have one auto reverser. There will be an auto reversing loop. The track that comes off of this switch here will go around and do that area, and it'll come through, and instead of going into staging, it'll actually come out and represent the interchange that used to be or still there up in Flint. It'll actually represent, if I can find the page, there's a lot of pages. Yeah, this is the Grand Trunk Western Canadian National Flint subdivision, which comes across here. But then right here, this track actually goes down and connects to this track way up here someplace. And that's what the auto reverser will be. It will be this little area here. So I might put the power plant in. AC Delco will look kind of like this. I'm going to have 3 trailing point and 1 facing point switch. It's not going to be as big. Flint Yard is going to look a little bit like, it won't look like that. It'll look more like how Plymouth Yard is laid out, with the main coming out and 4 tracks on the inside, although Flint Yard, the main's going to come out further because there's nothing really on the other side to have to worry about for scenery. Flint Yard's going to come out, the main's going to come out further, and I'm going to have an engine servicing facility up there. So the main will actually, instead of being only this far away from the edge, if I can get the camera far enough back, this far away from the edge, it'll be more over here, because staging is only going to be 3 tracks wide. So, and yes, I have a giant Halo poster because I like Halo, and my girlfriend got that for me for Christmas 2 years ago. And then I got some railroad drawings there and box office out of a case of beer. So yeah, that's the layout so far. I'll probably do another update in a couple days. Monday I'll be getting some track. I'm probably going to later, either today or sometime next week or next paycheck, go get the paint and start painting things, and then I can start laying in some track. And if you're curious, yes, it is going to be code 55. I know I'm crazy. Anyways, thanks for watching.